Hello and welcome back to Eternal Weekend. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm joined by the meddling mage himself. Welcome, Chris.
I finally made it.
You made it?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be vintage, but we got some legacy left over.
Yeah, I'm considering this bonus legacy. I'm pretty excited, actually.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you watched some of it yesterday.
I did.
You had to like this Helmerator deck.
I do. I've always really enjoyed. Like, I've played Tezzeret the Seeker more, but I've always loved Tezzeret Agent of Bolas for some reason.
Yeah. So Zach Dobbin is the match that we're going to start on. Zach is playing against Eric Markowicz, who is on one of the 6 Delver decks in the top 8. He in particular is on DelverBlade, we're calling it. It's essentially playing with white, playing Stoneforge Mystic in particular, instead of the more typical Mystic and the more typical red package of Young Pyromancer,
right? And
Monastery Swiftspear.
Yeah, very similar to the old Owen Turgwall Blue White Red Delver deck, but of course with Treasure Cruise.
But only two Treasure Cruises.
Yeah, this is a real hybrid version with like 3 Stifle, and which obviously most of the Delver decks aren't doing that anymore because
they're not wastelanding or stifling.
You don't want any cards in your hand that you can't get into the graveyard in a hurry if you need to. So
that does seem to be the majority opinion, but definitely some room. I mean, the Delver decks that we have, there's a couple variants, right? You've got the DelverBlade list. You've got Deathrights floating around a little bit. Here's Delver with Deathright and Tarmogoyf.
Right, I'm kind of surprised there's not more Deathrights, to be honest. Like this, right, this Eric Luca Deathright true name list is definitely something I was considering. But this is his deck is very like, I mean, he has 4 Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
So that's a whole that I was considering more of the Deathright Young Pyromancer version and not really play black and green, just kind of pick one, which has been done.
Grixis colored?
Kind of, basically. You might play 1 green mana, so you can use the Deathright gain life ability against some decks, or against Reanimator where you don't really care about the life, but that's been done. That's definitely shown up as, you know, if you search the Star City top 8s for 4-color Delver, you definitely will see that.
Gridzina is still on Wastelands. Maybe there's more of this up here than I realized. Stoneforges, True Name Nemesis, another DelverBlade list, essentially.
Right. And he's got Pierces, which are, you know, not showing up in most of these lists anymore.
And then Ralph Betesh.
Right, Ralph.
Teamer Delver.
Ralph is a long-time Rug Delver player, so he just couldn't bring himself to give up the Tarmogoyfs, and he's still playing 4 Stifle. So this is definitely this is basically a Rug Delver deck with Young Pyromancer instead of Nimble Mongoose. I mean, he had to shave some numbers.
Sure. And then the other backup match that we have, convenient to the camera, Kevin Jones is on the straight blue-red version of the Delver list. He's playing against Tony Chiolanza, who is also on the straight blue-red version of the Delver list.
It's amazing. Blue-red Delver deck I built lost in the finals of this tournament last year, but these blue-red Delver decks are so different. Like, it's amazing how much has changed. And
yeah, that was Osip running essentially your list, right?
Right.
What was Ari playing when he won? I was trying to remember that.
Death and Taxes.
Death and Taxes, right. Death and Taxes won
I guess they're not that different. I mean, there was still a Young Pyromancer deck last year, but
Swiftspear and Treasure Cruise changed things a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, honestly, my opinion is that no one's really. I mean, it's obvious in the deck list, I guess, but no one's figured this out yet. No one's really figured out like what the best way to go about this is. You know,
it feels like they figured out 40 or 50 cards.
Well, a lot of cards are forced on you, yeah. I mean, at some point it does feel like you're building Blue Devotion and Standard, and you gotta play 4 Gataxian Probe. But I think the toughest thing right now is, you know, some of these lists, they're a little. I mean, it's hard to say this about like a burn deck, but they're a little dirtily. Like your opening hand has 2 Gataxian Probe and 2 Treasure Cruise. Are you going to mulligan? You really only know what 5 of your cards are, but you know you're going to Treasure Cruise soon. And like, you know, decks like Sneak and Show, and so if you spend the first few turns, it doesn't matter if you have 4 Forked Bolts in your hand at the end of turn 3. It doesn't matter. You're still going to die to a good draw from a combo deck. But we just don't see that. And you know, some of these decks still have Stifles and Spell Pierces to prevent themselves from getting killed on turn 3, but some of them just don't.
Yeah, I mean they've all got Force of Wills. So, I mean you've got that first level of defense is certainly there. And, I mean people showed up with Sneak and Show. People showed up with combo decks. Maybe not as much as we've seen in years past, but I mean it's not like the field was 75% Delver, the way the top 8 is.
Right.
I mean these are the decks that rose to the top of a 455 person tournament, I believe it was.
Right. Yeah, it was a big tournament. So, but I'm a little surprised to see Delver dominating this much because I guess it's the Fork Bolt that's really killing the Elves. Like, you know, Elves has been getting, I felt like it's been getting a tougher and tougher matchup for Delver. There was recently a Star City top 8 where all four of the top 4 decks for Elves.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and in a lot of ways, the Delver decks, I mean, obviously they have a lot more mid-game power in some matchups, but they've really given up, in some ways, given up the early game. It's like, it's no more cast a Delver and then your opponent can't do anything for the next 5 turns because you're stifling and wastelanding and spell piercing. Some of these decks, you know, it's like it's always been. If you draw 3 lightning bolts, if your opponent's 11, those might as well be blanks, you know? And I'm surprised there's not more draws like that in Legacy where they draw a bunch of cards, they have a bunch of burn, but they just can't stop the broken thing your opponent's doing. And even to look at their sideboard now is more Pyroblast heavy, which isn't great against some of the combo decks either.
Sometimes they're even in the main deck. Well, it looks like our first match is ready, so we're going to send it down for Zach Dobbin against Eric Markowicz. We talked about this is the Helmerator deck. This is the Brew, the combo deck, the guy that said, you know what? Everybody's going to Treasure Cruise. I want Leyline of the Void in my main deck.
Yeah, I thought about this very briefly in Vintage Super League.
Oh, yeah?
How it'd be, but I mean, I had no time to come up with a whole new. I didn't think that the Legacy kind of Helm deck would work. There used to be a mono black deck in Vintage, but that's years ago now.
Yeah, so Zach essentially took, you know, the Tezzerator deck's been running around for a while.
Right.
It's tended to be Jace plus Tezzeret. He's gone to 6 Tezzerets, no Jaces, and put in the Helm Leyline of the Void combo, which isn't typical for these.
No, this is. I mean, they started working in the Thopter Foundry combo over the last couple of years, but now the Helm's like the additional combo's new. And one of the advantages of the old version was
down to 5 cards for Zach.
One of the advantages of the old version was the turn 2 Jace draws, where you get the Ancient Tomb into Signet into Jace on turn 2.
All right, well, we got some pregame action for Zach Dobbin. Leyline of the Void into the opening hand, so gets to start out with it in play. He is on a 5-card draw, though, so we'll see. Yeah, only the 1 land.
Wow, nothing going on.
Yeah, no, pretty slow start for Eric.
Well, the DelverBlade deck is definitely not as explosive as the other versions.
True. Cracked a couple fetch lands.
Anyway, just finished what I was saying before. The turn 2 Jace is not as good when you expect so many people to have 7 lightning bolts in their deck. And main deck Pyros, which we've even seen.
Yeah, no, I think Zach was right that this is not a great Jace metagame. I think Zach was right that it is a great Leyline metagame.
Oh, it is definitely. I mean, that's one I'm surprised. I guess there's only one deck in the top 8 that is still running Tarmogoyf, but even in the old Rug Delver before Treasure Cruise, like, I was really getting tired of the graveyard hate, just eliminating so many cards in your deck. So to run Treasure Cruise and Tarmogoyf now is really asking for it.
Turn 3 Delver of Secrets for Eric Markowicz. Zach, you know what? He would really love to draw some lands.
All right. And Markowicz is set up with a fair bit of ways to stop the Planeswalkers game 1. Not that it's going to matter if we never draw another land here.
Bolt your face. And not flipping the Delver? Oh, okay. He took a peek and then cracked a fetch land. Not interested in drawing whatever that was. Goes for one of his 2 Volcanics.
So what can Zach draw to catch up here?
I mean, just land, right?
Right, but even, you know, his important spells cost 4.
Some of his lands tap for 2.
And his,
Wow. Yeah, no, he's running out of time now. I mean, missing a couple land drops I think is not that big a deal. But, yeah, he's getting bolted.
What land is that in play? Is that
it's
Academy Ruins? So he can't even draw play a Baleful Strix if he draws its second land?
Yeah. Delver keeps chipping away for 1. I do see Force of Will in Eric's hand. Hey, a fetch land. Oh, he's got the Stifle?
Jeez.
Oh, what a blowout. Stifle your fetch land activation. I mean, I don't think Zach had any choice but to go for that. He's never going to catch Eric tapped out at this point in the game, so just had to hope he didn't have it. Now here's a Stoneblade.
Yeah, this is unfortunately not really. I heard Bob say a lot yesterday. He was sad when we weren't going to get to see any more Magic being played, and I feel like this game we never really saw any Magic being played.
Yeah, Batterskull goes into Eric's hand.
And I guess this is definitely a problem with the leyline strategy, that the games where leyline doesn't do anything, it really doesn't do anything.
Might be turning Treasure Cruise into a pitch card to Force a Will.
That's true.
That's the best it could be doing. I guess, is that Chalice 0? What does Chalice 0 do?
Kills the Batterskull Germ token. Delver if it flips, I guess.
It's not Explosive 0, it's Chalice 0.
Oh, Chalice 0, sorry. Chalice 0 doesn't do anything, right?
Is it better than discarding it? It's probably better than discarding it. There's some dream the Tezzeret Agent Bolus is going to get into play.
It's funny. The Chalice for 0 made so little sense to me. My brain immediately transformed it into Explosives for 0.
For Vintage Championships Online, you do not need to fill out a
I mean, I think he was 5-card starting hand, free ley line, and yet he still was discarding before he got any land to stick.
Yeah.
Alright, finally a second land. Yeah, Dimir Signet, but Batterskull's gonna come down. What, 1 Lightning Bolt away? 4, 5, 6. Flipped Delver could drop him to 1. Oh, jeez. And Daze on the Signet. I guess you do have to Force a Will.
But that's gonna kill him, isn't it? The Force a Will?
Let's see, Batterskull's 4.
If the Delver
so 4,
flips.
5. If the Delver flips. Yeah, this means Delver flipping is now lethal.
My Delver's always flipped, so.
Yeah, this one's been in play as a 1/1 for a while.
It's another thing I noticed Bob saying yesterday, how his opponent's Delvers always flip, and he feels like his never do. I just don't feel like that at all. My Delvers always flip.
Red Blast flips the Delver? Is that what that was?
No, I think he was Red Blasting the Force of Will.
Wow. Why is the Dimir Signet in play then?
Or I guess he double. I don't know what happened there.
I'm confused. Yeah, okay.
I assume
he did Red Blast the Force of Will, and thus countering the Dimir Signet. Now he fetches out a Tundra so that he can activate Stoneforge, and we're still in the flipping the Delver wins the game on the spot, but this feels like a game that was won quite a few turns ago.
Right, yeah, it's one difference. It's still a little harder to come back in Legacy for something like this than it is in Vintage, even though we're now seeing the format's converging a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, there's Flip Delver. And Zach can do the math just as easily as we can. On to game 2.
So I guess the sideboards.
Zach's had a lot of success bringing in Deluge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's better against the Pyromancer version of the Delver deck than this one, but it might still come in.
Yeah, it still kills a True Name Nemesis, which not a lot of cards do. Not that True Names is important. He has no spot removal, but True Name can't get blocked by a Strix, so I guess that matters a little.
Yeah, and Snaring Bridge is Zach's primary line of defense against creatures.
Right.
Can't kill one in the main.
So Eric has 2 Wear and Tear, which seem real good in this matchup.
Jeez,
and he has 2 Meddling Mage,
Tear.
which I'm all for. Sword of Feast and Famine is probably pretty good in this matchup to replace one of the other equipment. I guess you... Yeah, it's got to be better than Jitty, right?
Jitty doesn't really do much.
Let your creatures attack past a Baleful Strix.
Yeah, also, I mean, the discard and the untap are both relevant. Triggers. I mean, the Red Blasts are clearly coming out. Those are terrible. I mean, the Lightning Bolts don't really do much either.
Well, Strix... It's just really about... I guess he has Red Elemental Blasts, like, and Wear and Tears, but... You know...
I mean, I'd keep Bolton before I'd keep Red Blast in.
I think Red Blast is really good. 6 Planeswalkers, Baleful Strixes.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about the black half of the deck.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, Red Blast better than Bull.
Yeah, it's the Spell Snare is even good, but maybe not on the draw because the 6 mana artifacts. I don't know. On Zach's side, you know, he's going to know a lot more about what to take out of this deck than I am because the deck's pretty tight, having all the combos and it's like you said, it's the Deluge. It's whether or not he likes Vendilion Click, because Click can obviously be both good against Stoneforge Mystic and block a Delver of Secrets. You know, Ratchet Bomb.
Bust up a combo too, right?
It's interesting that he has Ratchet Bomb and Engineered Plague. And Engineered Explosives. Like, it's a lot of things that can be used to do similar stuff. Not sure why he mixed it up so much, what he likes and what matchups. So basically I'm saying Zach's deck's a little too weird for me to guess exactly how he's going to sideboard. Although Batterskull seems like it could be real good in this matchup. Also, so...
Yeah, he comes at you from a lot of different angles of attack.
I wonder if he takes out the Leyline Helm combo against people not playing like Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time. Like, if he thinks... Not that that matters in this matchup. His opponent does only have 2 Treasure Cruise.
2 Treasure Cruise, right.
But I wonder if he's constructed his deck where that's his plan, where if Leyline of the Void's not good against you on its own, he takes it out. Because he does have a lot of options in the sideboard for cards that are kind of generically good in a lot of matchups.
We can take a look at the top 8 bracket while we're here. See, Zach Dobbin versus Eric Markowicz is the 2-7 match. The winner of this match will be taking on either Eric DeLuca or John Gradzina. Other side of the bracket, Kevin Jones, who's been on quite a hot streak in the last month.
Yeah.
He just seems to win everything he shows up for. Kevin, the 1 seed, sort of led the Swiss the whole way, got to 9-0 and then drew in, still hasn't lost all weekend, playing Tony Chirlanza. And then the winner of that takes on the winner of Ralph Betesh and Nate Strum. You can see Eric consulting a printout of Zach's deck list. Players do have access to precise information now. We're in the top 8. The deck lists have been published online. There's obviously a lot of people watching a lot of these decks play out yesterday on camera, so just want to make sure nobody has any giant edges from scouting networks or whatnot. Eric doesn't seem confident he knows how Zach's going to sideboard either.
Yeah.
Vintage Champs is what we thought we were going to be bringing you guys today, but we get a couple little bonus legacy action. The Vintage Champs is scheduled to start at 10 a.m. local time, so about 90 minutes from now. The guys who are still in the legacy top 8 will get buys. There aren't a lot of buys available for Vintage Champs, but I mean, there was a trial yesterday. These guys get to finish what this started yesterday in legacy. These Vintage Champs, there were over 200 pre-regs.
Yeah.
Could have a pretty nice number. It looks like it's going to be 9 rounds of Swiss. I think the cutoff to get to the 9th round is in the 220s or so. I think it was 250 last year, if I'm not mistaken. I would expect it to beat that number.
I expect it to be bigger, for sure. Although I was telling someone else this morning, like, Vintage Champs would not surprise me if it had the highest percentage of people who pre-reg of any tournament. Okay. I think that if they opened pre-reg for next year's Vintage Champs...
Tomorrow,
they might get 100 people.
I think you are correct. Yeah, a lot of people have just flown in from really around the world.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the weekend.
A lot of people. This is the weekend. They think this is really when they feel like their Black Lotuses are at their maximum usefulness. It's been fun for me that Vintage Champs is now a Philadelphia institution.
Sure. I think it's cool. We have over half of the Vintage Super League in town.
Oh, I didn't realize that. There's that many of us here?
Yeah. I mean, you and me in the booth today. Bob is playing. Dave Williams is playing. Rich Shea is playing. Steve Menendian is playing.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
6 out of 10. I think we might have had more if it wasn't such a busy month Pro Tour-wise.
Yeah, let me tell you, there's just a lot of Magic tournaments these days. Yeah. Like, if you want to go to Magic tournaments, there's a lot of options. And there were 5 good Magic streams at one time yesterday.
Yeah. It was a good day for watching Magic, for sure. All right, here we go with game 2. Zach had mana problems in the first game, and Eric was able to finish him off relatively quickly. Still best 2 out of 3, so Eric is 1 game away from the semifinals.
Chalice of the Void's a lot worse in this matchup than it is against a lot of the Delver decks.
Yeah, the blue-red Delver, it blanks like 28 cards if you Chalice 1. Not as big a deal against the...
This list doesn't even have Gataxian Probe, so you can't do the thing where like they keep a hand that is extremely speculative and you don't even get to speculate.
We do have another free ley line for Zach, though. Yeah, he really did get the wrong Delver matchup, didn't he?
Yeah, he definitely did. This is not...
Only 2 Treasure Cruises to get hosed by those ley lines.
It's possible it's still a decent matchup, but it's not as... main deck Red Blast, too. It's just not...
Yeah, Chalice 1 is not as devastating. The ley lines are not as devastating.
Yeah.
We'll see, though. Ralph and John each up a game on their match is the word I have from Brian David Marshall. So Ralph up a game on Nate Stern. John up a game on Eric DeLuca, meaning basically both of the non-Delver decks are already down a game. Could have an all-Delver semifinals. We'll have at least a half Delver semifinals.
I love watching Delvers, as anyone who follows me on Twitter knows. What do you think about the ensnaring bridge? How was it yesterday? You watched this match a few times.
Didn't actually see it.
It seems worse now that you really have to get down to 0 cards against a lot of these decks.
Yeah, the Pyromancer tokens make you get to 0. That's for sure. I mean, I don't think it's that hard. I mean, it does allow him to have a plan against creatures without having to commit very many cards in his deck to it.
True.
Right, there's 2 of them floating around and then a bunch of ways to tutor for it. I don't know, I guess I like it in theory and haven't really seen it in practice. Baleful Strix for Zach Dobbin, so he's got the ability to trade with this Delver.
Oh, that hurts.
You really cheering for the Delver decks? That's what's going on here, isn't it? They're the enemy. Weren't you paying attention yesterday?
I'm sorry.
Helmerator's the hero of the story.
Yeah. I mean, no comment. Yes.
You can cheer for
to
the
be
bad
honest,
guys.
this is my least favorite Delver variant on a personal, just on a personal taste.
Really? This is the one that sideboards Meddling Mage.
That's true.
Shouldn't this be the best
one? I do
one?
have to give them credit for that, and that's fair. It's just I've always thought it was very clunky, the Stoneforge Delver thing. It's so hard to keep up Stifle when you're trying to cast Stoneforge Mystic.
All right, Eric brainstorms and drops a fetch land.
Zach's got to be happy with this draw so far. Got the cantrip, kill a Delver.
Yeah. Started with a ley line in play. Just needs to get to a Helm. Is
that a Signet? What is that?
Good.
Thopter Foundry.
If you are interested in
I will say this
Pro Tour qualifier, please do so outside of that stage.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you do not know what angle Jack Dobbin is coming at you from. You got half of this combo, half of that combo.
The construction of the construction restraints on this Tezzeret list are pretty severe for Legacy. Like, in order to play the Fort Chalice, he does not have Brainstorm in his deck.
Red Elemental Blast takes out the Thopter Foundry, by the way.
Oh, wow. That's a spicy interaction. So he's one of the few blue decks in Legacy that doesn't play Brainstorm. But then he has this card, Leyline of the Void, in his deck that the second copy is essentially worthless. No one ever kills it.
Sure.
But he's not playing Jace or Brainstorm.
So he can't put it back.
If he just draws extra ley lines, they just rot in his hand. That's pretty. That's tough. I'm surprised that he did nothing to really try to remedy that.
Just to draw backup copies.
Right. So here's a Stoneforge and a Batterskull.
Is that another Thopter Foundry?
Looks like it.
Funny. There's only 2 in the deck, right? 2 in the deck. He had them both. The first one baited out a Red Blast. That kind of worked out.
Second Red Blast just get drawn?
You were not happy with Eric's Red Blast choice, were you?
Red Blast, when you have Treasure Cruiser, I mean, he only has 2 Treasure Cruisers. He doesn't have Young Pyromancer. So obviously, the Red Blast, Pyroblast difference isn't as great in this deck.
We're going to be using the
But to me, it still seems like once you have Treasure Cruise in your deck,
You want a card that you can just point at anything and let it go to the graveyard, even if it doesn't do anything.
Thank you very much.
Kevin Jones up a game, by the way, so everybody's in game 2 now.
so Kevin Jones continuing to never lose.
Yeah,
so far.
pretty much.
He's on the new Lelouch plan.
I don't even know what Brian's talking about now, but
Winning.
oh,
So much better than
Winning
losing.
is better than losing.
Oh.
It's the nuclear Lelouch
Bull
plan.
Durham.
oh, Bull Durham. I'm sorry, that's like a gap in my.
What?
Yeah, sorry.
the best sports movie ever
all.
made.
The best sports movie ever made?
Yes,
Really?
the best sports movie ever made.
Wow. That's bold. I'm kind of off sports recently, but my sports fandom is waning quickly as I get older, but
Another Stone Forge for Eric. Ah, we have our first semifinalist. John Grudzina takes down Eric DeLuca and advances to the semis.
and he has Medley Mages in his deck too, so
Okay, so we can cheer for him.
right, we can cheer for him. So the Dirtle deck here is doing a lot of dirtling, as they say.
Ancient Tomb, so Helm is just lethal if he can resolve one. 1, 2, 3 mana though, that's not a Helm.
Toxic Deluge.
I would like to kill all your men's. It's a tough spot for Eric, right? Do you fight the Deluge? What if his next turn play is a Helm?
Yeah, I mean it's only he's pretty far from returning that Batterskull and recasting it.
Right. No, I mean I think those Deluges have just bought all kinds of time for Zach.
But he has a Delver in his hand. Yeah, I think,
Force Red Blast Delver, is that his hand?
I think with another threat in your hand, it's probably not worth fighting.
Sure. Does he have a blue card to go with his Force right now?
Yeah, I think he does.
Okay, he does.
Still has the Jitty in his deck. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, Jite doesn't seem very good in this matchup. I mean, he does kill the Baleful Strixes, I guess.
Oh yeah, but you have to run into one if they have it in
Run
play.
into something, yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Judges.
Tezzeret?
Is this a
You were
Tezzeret?
on the Legacy Championship yesterday.
I mean,
and
Big
you're
Tez
involved in a task.
-4 will get the Helm.
Again, judges, if you
There's
were on
Big
the Legacy
Tez.
Championship
This is lethal if it resolves.
task, please report to the
Not going to resolve.
There was just no.
Force of
Oh,
Will.
right. So I guess that Zach had no cards in his hand, so
Yeah.
so Eric could tap down to
You pre-register
no Red Blast mana
for
safely.
Vintage Championships or Eternal
Yes.
Weekend online.
Yeah, Zach is hellbent.
Need to fill out a registration.
The Delver flips.
Registration slip. If you would like your playmat, you can check in at the main event stage.
Delver picks up his Jite.
So next turn's lethal.
Next turn, yeah, 3 + 2 + 2 is 7.
He's got a bolt in his hand too.
Helm or no? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's Ensnaring Bridge, isn't it?
Yeah,
But he does have a card left in his hand.
right. But the Delver can minus himself to attack.
One card though. He's not going to get it down to 1 power. He's not going to make it a 1/0.
Oh right, yeah. I've seen that play before, but I guess the Delver's the wrong size for it.
Yeah. So Ensnaring Bridge holding off the Delver, which would be lethal.
He's got a bolt in his hand. Here's
Okay.
Wear Tear. He just drew Wear Tear.
That's game, right? Blow up the Ensnaring Bridge, kill you with my Delver. He can even
Wear Tear.
Wear Tear. He just takes out the ley line for value, right?
Wear Tear is a sweet sideboard
It is pretty savage in this matchup.
I mean, that is definitely. I mean, that's something that the blue-red Delver decks you know, they're playing Smash to Smithereens, which I guess now that the deck is more burn heavy, it doesn't feel as bad as it used to, but you know, the fact that Rug Delver always used to run Ancient Grudge and Krosan Grip, it felt like you were running like real Magic cards. When you go down to blue-red, it feels a lot thinner. But this blue-white-red deck can do whatever it wants.
He just says go.
He wants to
End step.
I guess he wants to leave Red Blast mana up.
Okay.
I guess it's not worth it to him. He knows that Zach's deck is not built to counter twice in one turn. He doesn't have anything except Force of Wills, so if he untaps and
should Zach draw a Helm, he can still respond to it with the Wear and Tear. Take out the bridge and the ley line.
3 mana though for Artifact and Enchantment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he can't actually do both.
I
so
see. That's probably why he's waiting. Didn't want to get just the Ensnaring Bridge.
But he would win.
Oh, he gains a life from the Thopter Foundry's response, so it was not actually the game.
Right. Is that Vendilion Click?
Wow. That's a Magic card.
Right, so I thought the clicks might come in. I don't know if they come in the non-Stoneforge versions, but
you have to Red Blast this click,
definitely.
Right?
You can't afford to lose the Wear and Tear out of your hand.
It's also a blocker.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Jitte can kill it, but it's not actually going to get to block. But yeah, you don't want to lose a card from your hand.
Jitte kills it.
Red
That's
Blast.
True. Maybe it's not worth countering. I don't know. The Wear and Tear seems really important. You only have 2 in your deck.
All right, Zach once again down to 1 card. He can't counter with 1 card. You just Wear Tear, right?
With the block, he's still gonna have the blocker. He's gonna.
With Thopter Foundry, he's gonna make a flyer.
Foundry. But yeah, you do it.
Okay, he's going for just the Ensnaring Bridge. Does not go for the bonus ley line. Prefers to leave Volcanic Island untapped. Down goes Ensnaring Bridge.
He wants to Lightning Bolt the token. Is that what's going on?
Zach is certainly making a token. I believe he tapped mana to sacrifice Ensnaring Bridge to the Thopter Foundry.
He doesn't need to Lightning Bolt. Oh, he can Jitty the token.
Yeah, Jitte the token is slightly more
efficient. Then he makes his Delver a 5, then he bolts for the win.
Yeah.
So
looks like the win.
It's early today. We're missing some things.
Jitte takes down the token. Right. Is there any mana left to make any more tokens? Tapping Ancient Tomb is probably not worth
Ancient Tomb not going to. Well, not.
It's not even, is there even an artifact to sack?
The Thopter Foundry.
The Thopter Foundry itself.
I mean, we say it's not worth it except for the part where he's dead if he doesn't do it.
All right. +2 the Delver.
Did he reveal Lightning Bolt to flip the Delver?
Bang. Ball game. There's the handshake. Eric Markowicz wins the quarterfinal. Helmerator down.
Yeah, Helmerator looked pretty bad there. But he did double mulligan into a ley line that didn't do anything game 1. So
yeah. And that game he had the ley line didn't actually do anything, but it was threatening to. It meant that Tezzeret was a lethal threat when he played it.
Yeah, but I agree with you. He just ran into the wrong Delver list. You know, you run into the Delver list that isn't just totally hamstrung by ley line, has 2 Wear and Tear in the sideboard. It's a lot rougher.
All right, so Zach's out. I know we had Kevin Jones on the back table. I'll get an update from Brian. What's going on the back tables, Brian?
They're in game 2.
Kevin Jones still in game 2?
For punishing the Maverick deck, ties it up. I'm going to move him into the feature match area.
Yeah, punishing Maverick has tied up that match. Put that game.
If he ties it.
Oh, if he ties it. They're still in game 2.
You guys are really anti-Delver. Randy's just grabbing any.
Oh, great.
So this is the deck that advanced.
Yeah, Gradzina advanced, Markowicz advanced. Gradzina is also Stoneforge. So the 2 decks in the semis right now are both DelverBlade.
Yeah.
I think we're going to try to bring Eric in for an interview while we wait to get another match on camera. Pair game 2 is going on right now. Right. Yeah, we'll move over Kevin Jones. If they go to game 3, we'll move over the Maverick matchup if that goes to game 3.
All right. Wow, it's interesting that Stoneforge Mystic really had very little to do with.
I agree.
But the other white cards, were great. The Wear Tears. And I don't know what happened in the other match, what the key of that match was, but I feel like I don't think anybody would have expected that. Now that we're on in the Treasure Cruise world, that the Stoneforge decks would be the ones that are highlighted.
No, I'm a little surprised by this too. It definitely seemed like the burn versions, that's just straight blue-red, felt better yesterday. But here we sit with 2 semifinalists, both packing Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah.
What was our actual Treasure Cruise count in the top 8 anyway? Never did add it up. There's 2 in Markowitz's deck.
3 in Gridzena's.
3 in Gridzena's for 5. Zach doesn't have any.
I've only got 1 over here.
1 in DeLuca?
1 in DeLuca.
Okay, that's
4
6.
in Ralph's.
10.
4 in Kevin's.
14.
4 in Tony's.
18.
And then Maverick.
So it's only 18.
Yeah.
It's 6 decks, but only 18 Treasure Cruises. I mean, only 18 Treasure Cruises. That's still a big number.
It seems like Maverick could have ran them off their Noble Hierarchs. Bird of Paradise. Yeah, this guy totally could have jammed Treasure Cruise. So I saw there was some analysis going on yesterday of how many cards get played in a typical Legacy tournament or whatever.
Yep. How many cards are viable in Legacy was the specific one. All right. Well, it looks like we got an interview. So slide toward me.
Me slide toward you.
Slide toward you, and then we'll bring a third chair in.
We got Shockland proponent coming.
I know. I got Shockland, bro.
What's
up, guys?
Welcome. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How you doing?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So slide in a little more. Make sure we get you in the frame.
I don't need to be in the thing.
Let the people at home see you. Chris doesn't bite.
He doesn't bite. What's up? What's going on?
It's true.
I know. All right. So what questions?
How'd that matchup feel from your side?
Honestly, when I saw his deck list, I thought I was gonna lose miserably because like
really?
He was on the play, draw, the play draw, he was on the play, and like all I was thinking was just like turn 1 Chalice just like murders me and slows me down like miserably. I can still win through it because I have Stoneforge and True Name, but it shuts off like Brainstorm, Ponder, Delver, Bolt. It just shuts off everything.
Yeah. Think about how good that Chalice is against the blue-red Delver list.
Yeah,
Like, you were the wrong Delver list from his perspective.
Yeah.
He was like, Chalice for 1 only shuts off like 16 cards. I'm supposed to nail 28.
It was one of those things that was just like, it hurts me, but it doesn't completely cripper me. But and like that was the main thing I was like just worried about, was just like Chalice really, because it was just like everything else in his deck, because I can rep his Planeswalkers, Bolt his Planeswalkers, so I don't really care. And I have like 4 stases, things like that to stop it. It was just turn 1 Chalice was all I was worried about. So like my game 1 hand, I kept 4 stays, Stifle, 2 lands, 2 bolts, and I was like on the draw, and I was like, all right, just keep, because I can force turn 1 play, Bolt a Planeswalker, Daze his first, like, so it was good. And then like he mulled a 5, and it was just a horrible thing where he just had 1 land, so it really wasn't a game.
Right.
And then like game 2, I was really iffy about keeping my hand because it had no turn 1 force, but it had turn 1 Delver, and it also had like a Brainstorm and things like that, but it had no interaction on turn 1 because he was on the play. So I was because he kept his 7-card hand, and I was just like,
uh-oh, here it comes.
I was like, do I just risk this and just like lose the turn 1 Chalice? I was just like, and I'm like, all right, I'll keep. And he just won turn 1 Leyline land go, and I was like, thank God. And then like I drew pretty well that game. Like I ripped Rebs to stop his stuff, and
Wear Tear's not bad against
that was the only thing, is like he played with like the Snaring Ridge when he was at 7, and I was like thinking to myself, I'll just make my Delver smaller, and I was like,
I actually said that too.
I was like,
you don't want to make it a 1-0.
I was just
not
like,
the right line.
I was like, damn it, it's a stupid 3-2, not a 3-3, and I was like, God damn it. And I was just like, all right, so Ponder, and then like Ponder was like, the best Ponder I could have was like Force, Fetch Land, Wear Tear, and I was like, all right, draw Wear Tear, and then I like thought for a second because I had 2 mana left. I could have blown up his Ensnaring Bridge and swung, but I couldn't kill him. So, but if I do that, he gets another turn, and if he draws Helm, I just lose. So I was just like, all right, just pass, and leaving open Reb and Wear Tear, so just in case I can't lose the Helm, and I can counter a spell. So, and then he drew, and he played V-Click, and I just rebbed it, and on my turn, I just Wear Tear and won that game, which I honestly, going into that match, was just like, I should lose this match.
This is a great illustration of how good Chalice of the Void is against the other Delver decks, because you're sitting here, you still seem terrified of the Chalice, and your deck is much better against Chalice than the other Delver decks, and you're still terrified.
It's because Chalice is just like one of those cards that's like, I played like the Mud version of Legacy, and I've played Vintage a lot and things like that, so I know how good Chalice is. And it's just like one of those things is just like, when they're on the play and you go turn 1 Chalice, you don't do anything turn 1, and it shuts off so many cards, and it shuts off all your dig cards.
Right.
And I can't play Treasure Cruise against him because he's playing Leyline, so like I have nothing to draw my cards at all in the deck. So it's just simple, just top decking every turn, and it's just like miserable for that
Sided
deck.
out the Treasure Cruises?
Yeah, I sided them out because it was just like they're not going to do very much because Leylines will be like, whatever. And both games you did have opening hand Leyline.
Did you bring in Sword of Feast and Famine?
No, I brought in 2 Mages, 2 Swan Songs, and 2 Wear and Tears because like Feast and Famine, like I was thinking about it, but I just like considered Jit just a lot better because he had Thopter Foundry, and that game it was true because it was able to kill his tokens. Because he can block with the Thopter Foundries for blue tokens, so I was just like, Feast and Famine's not going to do anything.
Oh, the Thopter Foundry are blue.
They're blue.
Well,
like
Baleful Strix is black, so that's
yeah.
what I was talking about.
I didn't really like the Baleful Strix. I also didn't count because again, Jit just kills it. Plus, I have bolts, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Now, talk to me about the deck choice in general. You know, yesterday morning, was there a specific field you were expecting or a specific reason you went with this version of the Delver deck?
Well, I played this deck at Legacy Tournament, my local store, Redcap's Corner, and their Legacy event was like last month or something, and I played the deck, and I split top 4 with it. But this is before Treasure Cruise came out.
Okay.
And the deck is like pretty much tuned to like be very like pretty good against other like Delver decks because I'm playing 2 main deck Rebs, which stops Treasure Cruise, kills Delvers. It's just the best card in the deck, I feel. Okay. I'm also playing like 1 main deck Spell Snare because Termaglyph's a really annoying card, so is Stoneforge Missing and things like that. Okay. And I like the list better than like the other ones just because it's a lot more versatile also against like things like Chalice of the Void and like things like Miracles because like all your things are on different curves. It's a lot harder for Miracles to like lock you out of the game when they have to resolve a counterbalance because if they have counterbalance top, sure they can stop all your 1 stuff, but they still can't stop True Name or things, so they have to like play around it, which was a lot more better for the field because I expected this field to just be a bunch of Miracles and a bunch of Treasure Cruise. Sure. And Reb is just amazing between all of them.
There you go.
And the funny thing about my deck is obviously is the shock lens in it. Sure. Like I couldn't find the 2 Tundras and the Volcanic Island I needed yesterday, and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna play shock lens. It's not gonna get punished. And pretty much the entire day yesterday and that matchup, it did not matter.
No, that matchup is not gonna matter.
Yeah.
Well, good job.
Thank you so much.
Great work so far. We'll see you in the semifinals in a little bit, but we're gonna go see who else is gonna join you there. So.
I mean, I hope Shocklands shoot up in price now because people don't need you don't need dual lands to play Legacy. That's stupid.
Funny.
Championships and if not pre-registered.
All right, so I believe we have the Punishing Maverick matchup now.
Punishing Maverick. So it's Ralph and Nate.
Yeah, Nate Strum should be playing against Ralph Betesh. And you're saying Ralph is a local ringer? Guy you run into at PTQs all the time?
In fact, a recent PTQ, he beat me in round 2, and then he won the PTQ. So wow. I literally ran into him when he was being in the act of being a local ringer.
There you go. So Ralph's is Teamer Delver.
Right, very classic.
Well, it's basically Delver. The blue-red version, but he loves his Tarmogoyfs, not letting go.
Right, well, but it's also got the 4 Stifles. You know, it's very much in the build.
Oh, Stifle Wasteland.
It's got 2 Spell Perks, it's got Wasteland. It's very much in the build of the previous decks. It's just he's only on 10 creatures. Yeah. And he's on 3 Tarmogoyf, 3 Pyromancer, and no Nimble Mongoose, because obviously it's not really...
Yeah, Young Pyro Treasure Cruise is nice synergy.
Yeah.
Does he not play Gataxian Probe? Is that how he made room for all this?
Wow, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
that is really surprising me that he's not playing Gataxian Probe. But it's hard to have room for what I mean, when you try to fit in the Stifles, it becomes really hard to fit everything in. And
Nate Stern, meanwhile, a ton of one-of creatures. He's got the Green Sun Zenith to go get him. He's also got some one-of lands with the Knight of Reliquary to go get him.
Right, and he's got the 4 Mother of Runes, 3 Stoneforge Mystic, 4 Knight of the Reliquary, which is pretty much always in these Maverick decks, I guess. I don't know if they always play 4 Knight of the Reliquary. It's got the really interesting card choices for him are the Domri Rods, which is not something you see. His mana is pretty pushed because he's got Council's Judgment. I don't know if these decks normally have double white spells. And he's got Scavenging Ooze, so he has pretty heavy mana requirements. So the Wastelands, even though this is a creature deck, could matter quite a bit here. Although obviously he has all the mana creatures, but then he's going to run into...
Looks like Ralph's going to take a mulligan.
Well, he's got all the mana creatures, then he runs into the Forked Bolt situation. So this is game 3, right?
Yeah.
So one of the more interesting cards in this matchup is if Ralph brought in Rough Tumble. It's always a really tough decision. It kills a lot of the creatures in the Maverick deck. But it's like sorcery speed, which isn't great against Mother of Runes. doesn't kill Birds of Paradise and Scrib Ranger, which are kind of which limits its use, and the fact that it kills your own young Pyromancer tokens. I have a feeling he did not bring it in, but that used to be like a weapon in this matchup, but I don't know if it's going to be now. So
makes sense. So we've got half the bracket. It is Grudzina versus Markowicz.
oh, all right.
So our DelverBlade decks will be dueling off on the one side of the bracket. The other side, though, we don't know anything yet. We know one of these guys will be there, and we know it'll either be Kevin Jones or Tony Girolanza. Last I heard, I believe Kevin is still in game 2 and up a game.
This is very similar to the matchup we just watched in the sense that one of the decks is sort of very expected, and the other deck can do all sorts of things that you don't expect. Like,
oh yeah,
Domirad, Elspeth, Choke, Sword of Fire and Ice, Thrun, like all those cards could potentially be in his deck right now and kind of do things. All
right, the word I'm hearing from the Kevin Jones match is that Kevin is in good shape. Kevin looks likely to continue his undefeated weekend and move into the semis.
The indicator is that he's playing a match of Magic.
So we've got 2 just lands here on turn 1, huh?
The Grove of the Burn Willows combo nicely with the Punishing Fires in Nate's deck. How relevant is that combo to this matchup?
It's pretty good. I mean, it basically means that you have to win with Tarmogoyfs if he has it going, and how many swords of, and there's 4 Swords of Plowshares in the Maverick deck, so I think it matters. I mean, the interesting thing here is I just, once again, I have no idea how Nate sideboarded, and so I don't know what spicy numbers I'm rooting for here. So here's a very tiny Goyf for now. The most likely turn 2 play here, I guess, is Stoneforge Mystic. Although we could see some weird stuff. Voice of Resurgence.
Gaddock Teeg seems well positioned for this meta.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is most of the Treasure Cruise decks have no problem killing a Gaddock Teeg.
I guess that's true. They have to, though. Is that a plow? Yeah, Swords of Plowshares. Not sure I have seen that art version of the Swords of Plowshares, but he tapped the Savannah and pointed at Tarmogoyf.
It is a strange Swords of Plowshares. I think it's an altar, probably.
Is it? No, it's a foil. It's a promo foil.
Oh, it's just a promo foil? Wow.
Judge foil.
One thing that I don't... One other strange thing about this Maverick deck is one of the strengths of most white decks in Legacy is that they're able to
blasting a Ponder.
And he played a Wasteland as his second land. Ooh, Daze.
Daze is the blast. Needs that Ponder to resolve. He may be on just the 2 land.
One interesting thing about this white deck is most white decks, one of the great things about them, they get to play Rest in Peace. This deck does not play that because of Knight of the Reliquary. So it doesn't have that card.
And Punishing Fire.
And Punishing Fire. So it can't shut down Tarmogoyfs and Treasure Cruises with one card, like so many other Stoneforge Mystics decks can. Yeah, I'd rather have Rest in Peace than Punishing Fire in this matchup. I don't know who. I think maybe I'm wrong. Which makes me wonder who the Punishing Fires are better than Rest in Peace against, but. Wow. So yeah, he's definitely must be mana pinch because he dazed the red and then had to shuffle off the Ponder. So,
Wasteland. Nobody's got nothing. Armageddon you.
Oh man, these are the best Delver games. Oh, another Grove.
Yeah. And Tropical, all right.
Alright, so Ralph has not shown any red mana yet. If he doesn't have red mana this turn, and the most, so
Wow.
yeah, so I was just gonna say, without red mana, when the Mother of Runes gets active, it just becomes real difficult to do anything. No, but then he had it on top.
Not clear he had the Lightning Bolt for sure, but I think he's down to
now
one
he's
card
going
in
on a
hand.
cruise.
Time to cruise. 6 Delves and 2 mana.
Nate Sturm has 2 Red Blasts in his sideboard. Would have been a sweet spot for one, but...
No, he already went through one this game. Got it dazed.
Oh, right. Yeah, he Red Blast that Ponder.
Is that
Kasali Pride Mage?
Solid Pride Mage, right?
Which is really nothing but a big attacker. A 3/3 in this attacker in this matchup, I guess.
Sure.
I guess they can kill a Grafdigger's Cage if Ralph brought them in to stop Green Sun Zenith, but Green Sun Zenith is not nearly as scary in this matchup as it is against Elves, so I don't know if you...
For the PTQ, please see us at the side event stage.
Yeah, plus the Elves back it up with Natural Order.
Right, right.
Cage,
So,
much better card there.
it's certainly possible he brought in one Cage, but
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
just because the counter spells aren't great in this matchup.
The biggest problem with Cage is that it doesn't go to the graveyard.
Yes.
It just sits in play.
I saw Luis
It says I